Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we have something going on, and we are going to be raising money for a cause. Tweeting it out right now. I'm going to wait for people to get in before I really say exactly what we're doing. But how's everybody doing? I hope you can hear me. Sound is good. All right. So today is going to be a wee bit different because it's there's kind of a twist of fate going on here. Okay, so if you have been following the channel for a while, you know that we have helped some miners in Alabama. We went and did a fundraiser so the striking miners, so their kids could get Christmas presents, help with that. And by help with that, what I really mean is we got the resources together and basically handed it off. Everything else was done by a woman named Hayden Wright. And she's still up there helping out and helping the miners who are on close to, I want to say, their 500th day of their strike. And this is the thing we're going to be doing today. It's actually in the same area, and I want to read you this. I teach 9th and 10th grade English as well as theater at a rural school in central Alabama. My average class size is 30 students with varying academic needs. Being able to have students in groups provides all students with the opportunity to be successful. I strive to select texts that are relatable and engaging. Relatable and engaging for my students. The Alabama course of study places a focus on literature prior to 1599 outside of the U.S. and Britain. The Odyssey graphic novel will help make this text come to life for my students. The Lord of the Flies will be used in my 10th grade classroom for our unit on the individual versus society. Thank you for helping provide my students with an opportunity to flourish. Okay, so this is in the same area because Hayden's the teacher. She has no idea we're doing this live stream, by the way. But the goal is to raise the money she needs for these tables and these books and everything else. This, by the stats on it, it says that this will help 256 students. And about half of the school is low income. So the odds of them being able to pull this together locally are pretty slim. Hayden has a great social media network, but she generally uses it to help other people. You know, they're up there right now getting the students that are heading back to school, making sure they have school supplies, backpacks, pencils, paper, stuff like that. So she can't really leverage her her network for the benefit of her class. But I figure we can kind of help take care of that for her. So that's what the funds for this are going to go to. I'm hoping we'll just close out that fundraiser tonight. If we go over it, I have no idea what we're doing with the rest. But that is what's going on. So how are y'all doing today? All right, let's see if we can go through here. What do we have? All right, live stream kicking off in earnest. Right from the beginning. Good. Okay. Thank you, Robert F. Jobin Jr. Miners, not miners. I don't follow you. Miners like coal miners. And we actually helped the miners of the miners get Christmas presents. Thank you, Buck Farmer. Thank you, Gordon Schaefer, for Hayden. Thank you, CF. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Rohan Kurian in the Force We Trust. Thank you, Amelia Kelly. Thank you, Jeremy White. It's not much, but we rarely agree on several issues, but you're still the most honest person out there. Thanks for that. Thank you. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, Calliope Dragon. Thank you, Lacey Lofton. Thank you, Katie Cat. Okay, so we are bringing in. So we've kind of hit the thing where we're rolling along now. Thank you, Kuma Climber, Dill Hill Center Certified Wildlife Habitat. Thank you, Testy Trekkie. Education is the strongest tool that we have to oppose those who oppress. Beware those who would deny you access to information, for in their mind they consider themselves your master. Wow. Thank you, John O. Thank you, Sam Dellenbeck. Thank you for putting our chaotic world. I try. Thank you, Robert F. Jobin Jr. There's a Galaxy Quest reference. Worked perfectly here. Thank you, Sydney Marsing. Thank you, West Coast Tigger. Thank you, Take It Up with Bishop. Hey, Bo, appreciate you much. Would love to do those personal combos. Oh, okay. Thank you, Brian T. Happy to help out some kids need. Thanks for making us aware of this and allowing an avenue to help. Thank you, Anna L.A. Off the school topic, but have you heard about Philly possibly bringing back stop and frisk? I hope not. I mean, setting aside civil liberties stuff, which isn't something you should do, it's really not super effective either. Not at preventing the kind of crime that people are actually concerned about. Thank you, Stephen Helmbuck. Thank you, Christopher Ratcliffe. Thank you, Mary Jane Moss. Thank you, Eric Bro. Thank you, Lisa Hillard. Thank you, Timothy Fee. Thank you, Thomas Bernecki. I'm not unwell. Thanks, Bo. Just was watching Leland Sklar. Love it in concert. Thank you, Ariel Casey. Thank you, Sean B. Thank you, Luke Checkle. Thank you, the Jack of All Travels. I still have a framed copy of the Constitution printed in 1950. It's yours when you're ready. Thank you. Thank you, SEL. Thank you, Mark P. Propaganda Mac. Thank you, Gabriel Hlushko. And thank you, Nancy Reed. Okay. The vegan ranker, he's making so much money. We're the students are anyway. We should clear this out, I would hope. Thank you, Space Garrett. Thank you, Joe Stimmel. Can we talk about public opinion shifting policy with people like Liz Cheney changing their position on codification of gay marriage? I'm of the firm opinion that to change society, you don't have to change the law. You change thought. Once you change thought, the law will follow. A lot of people try to legislate morality or ethics. It rarely works. If you can shift the way people look at things, you end up getting a legal framework that reflects what people believe. So that's why it's very, I don't know, 2,000 something videos. I might have proposed like 3 pieces of legislation. The important thing is to change the way people think. Because even if the politicians don't change their personal views, they'll change their public ones because it's politically expedient to do so. Thank you, Elizabeth Roberts. Actually caught one live. Greeting from Alaska. Thanks for everything. Yeah, I've never done one on Friday night, I don't think. I was kind of curious how this is going to work. Thank you, Thomas Swope. Thank you, Shane Sanders. Thank you, I Question. Thank you, Vernon McCall. Thank you, OAJ 2015. Thoughts on the Manchin-Schumer compromise bill? I'm not really sure. I'm going to hold my thoughts until everything is finalized all the way through. I've been Charlie Brown with the football one too many times on this. Thank you, Ian Zoda. Man, I hope that's you. If you're the person that said that, at least you have a sense of humor. Thank you, Theodanos. Thank you, Kevin Unley. Thank you, Henning CA, helping Destro embarrass with a bag of kibble. Let's see. Thank you, Kelly Daniels. Thank you for being the voice of reason. Thank you on the team OO. Thank you, Amelia Kelly. Can you go over who the donations are for again? So there's a woman who has been instrumental. Everything that we have done on this channel to help the striking miners in Alabama, we didn't really do it. We put together the resources, and Hayden did it. Or at least she organized it. She was our point person. She is a teacher up there, and I found out that she has what amounts to a teacher's GoFundMe. And she needs some tables, I want to say 30 copies of the Odyssey. It's a graphic novel version. And then The Lord of the Flies. She needs it for her class. And because this is somebody who is generally always helping other people, this is something that it will probably end up getting kind of last placed for her. So she doesn't know we're doing this, and we're just going to kind of close out her fundraiser tonight and make sure she has everything she needs for her class, because she's always busy helping other people. So that's the plan. Thank you, Joe Shalom. Unless you lie cheat your way into a 6-3 majority, of course. Yeah, as far as changing thought, yeah, I mean, the Supreme Court does have say in that. Thank you, Dave Schmidt. Thank you, Ben Doherty. A video on the PAC Act. Jon Stewart would be so good at getting the word out. Yeah, I mentioned that. So I actually caught people were making fun of me on Twitter about that, because a couple of days before like the final vote, I already had a video out in the past tense saying that Republicans voted against it, because I knew they were going to. You know, I'm just that cynical at that point. If they have the opportunity to do something like that, they will. But don't rest assured, I will be talking about it again. Let's see. Thank you, ye old underpants. No, that's new. I'm broke, but I've been a fan since your video about your daughter's dating around 3 to 5 years ago. Thank you. Thank you, 00083. Thank you, Just Another Day. Thank you, A Dozen Dead Roses. I have no idea what this is for, but I trust that it's for a good cause. Glad to catch a stream. Yeah, it's definitely for a good cause. Thank you, Punk Psy. I see you dropping in. Thank you, Comics. Thank you, Captain Mortified. All the best to you and yours, Bo. Bad Pirate Monkey, 6:15 p.m. 103. No AC. Wow. 103 degrees. Yeah, it has been bad here in Florida as well. It's been rough, but we've had AC, or we've been able to at least, get under some irrigation or something and get wet and cool off. Thank you, Brett. Hey, Bo, I like how well you articulate your thoughts. Jumped around on me. I think a lot like you, but I'm not as persuasive. Thoughts on how I could start to improve. Being more persuasive, sometimes it's the messenger. Like it depends on, I'll do a video on this. Because there are general rules on how to talk to people. But sometimes it doesn't matter. I've had a lot of people ask me to talk about toxic femininity, and I'm like, yeah, nobody's going to listen to me on that. I mean, the only reason people talk or listen to me talk about masculinity is because of the way I look. Sometimes it just boils down to the messenger, but I'll put together some stuff and put a video out on that. Thank you, AC. Do you think the hearings change minds in Trump's base? Thank you for your work. Depends on what you mean by change minds. Do I think that it's going to shift their thought a little bit? Yes. Do I think it's going to make them more liberal? No. I think most are going to jump from Trump to DeSantis. Best case scenario, they become completely disaffected with politics. I don't think that the hearings in and of themselves are going to create a bunch of positive change in the sense of they're now looking forward and wanting to create that better world. They're still going to want the status quo. Thank you, Brett Drinkwater. Time for common sense leadership. How about this, Bo? Jon Stewart for president. Maybe like a deputy assistant undersecretary of state in the office in the basement or something. I don't have any real interest in politics ever. Thank you, Kathy N. Thank you, O Hines. Thank you, Big Dog Flawless. Thanks for being a voice of reason. I'm 16 and you help me keep up with politics and stay hopeful for my future. Your content keeps me from going full doomer. That's awesome. Please don't go full doomer. It's very hard to get out. Once you go down that road and you just decide nothing can be done and nothing matters, it's real easy to become nihilistic to the point where even your personal life falls apart. I've seen it happen. Thank you, Samantha Marie Freeman. Thank you, John Little. Please post your recommended daily news sites for someone who has limited time to read the news. If you have limited time, AP ProPublica. ProPublica is a little bit more in depth as far as the time it takes to read it, but generally it's worth it, and you'll get the news a week ahead of time because normally they're breaking news old school, like digging through documents kind. They're not waiting for a press release. So even though it's a little bit more time intensive, it's worth the time. Thank you, Karen Webster. To help the helping teacher. Exactly. Go away, Google. Thank you. Thank you. I'll always be pitching to help a fellow teacher. Thank you for being a voice. Keeps me sane living in the South. David Garrig, this is crazy for a teacher. They're all rich. I don't think teachers in Alabama make a whole lot. Thank you, Deborah Serrano. Thank you, Way Os of Bounds. Thank you, Leonce Porsche. Ever drank Bailey's from a shoe? I've drank Bailey's from a lot of things. Thank you, Andrew Hornschmeyer. Thanks for what you do. Always look forward to the uploads. Thank you. I from Iowa. Happy to help teachers. Thank you, Mr. Fribble. Nothing says gross than fist bumping after voting against veterans. I saw that. Who was it? It was Ted Cruz and somebody else right after. These sick people, don't worry about them. Fist bump. It was horrible. Man, that was something. Those people. Hello, 1814. Thank you. Hey, bro, I want you to do a whole series or at least one good video on the truth state of climate change. Speaking of doomerism, the problem with that is I'm not an expert on it. I can't pull together all the studies and come up with a coherent picture because each one impacts another one, which impacts another one. The problem is a lot of the more doomery type are the ones that get the headlines. Like all last week, there were articles about how like 90% of plankton are dead, and basically that's going to be the end of the oceans, and we're all doomed. The reality is that's not even what the study said. I mean, set aside that the study's never been peer reviewed, and there's a whole lot of questions about it. That didn't even go through. Like it never even went through that stage before the media latched onto it and put it out there. So it's bad. There's no doubt. How bad? I don't know. I mean, that was one study in particular that I was able to parse through. I can't do that with all of them. I can put together like worst case, middle case, best case type of thing. But I don't know enough about it to be like, this is what's going to happen the way I do some other subjects. Thank you, Sticks Mommy. Always happy to help a fellow educator. Thank you, Luis Gurin. Thank you, Connie Frank. Love teachers and helpers. Thank you, Bloodroot. Thank you for bringing things like this to our attention. Thank you, Deanna McHugh. Thank you, the Fildefer from Quebec. Thank you for all the positive action you help create. Thank you. I can't actually do any of this without y'all, just so y'all know. Thank you, Matt Taylor. Thank you, S House in Trees. Thank you, S Gossett. Thank you, Paul Christie. Teachers Rock. Private support slides right past this bureaucrats. Right. Thank you, Elspeth Reed. Thank you, Intrepid Exotics. Appreciate you. Florida is a hot topic in the reptile community, and we are always watching legislation nationwide. Your take on things is always enlightened. I'm still wondering what's going to happen with the snails, to be honest. If they ever got that under control, or we still all need to keep bags of salt around us. Thank you, Richard L. Hypothetically, if the Dems win in the midterms and get a larger majority in the Senate, say 52 seats, who would be the new Manchin holding up bills? I don't know. You have some other Democrats that are more conservative, but I don't know that any are in a position where they can kind of buck the party the way these two have. So we're going to have to wait and see. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you. Hey, big fan. First time I caught a live stream of yours. Thank you, TJ Glidden. Thank you, Terry Kohler. You help lots of people. Oh, but I still don't like it when you wear the Guns N' Roses shirt from time to time. Thank you, the Grand Tamburini. Thoughts on fighting compassion fatigue. I'm on break right now. I work at a women's shelter, and it's hard not to mentally check out sometimes. Oh, yeah, believe me. Tips on fighting it? I don't know. You have to have something that can help center you. And that's going to be different for each person. I mean, I like building Legos with my kids. There has to be something that allows you to just kind of completely zone out, but not actually check out from the world, because you don't really recharge that way. If you just zone out and don't think about anything, when you come back, it's all still there. You have to take pleasure in what's available. Thank you, Antonio Miller. Greetings from Saudi Arabia. My mom is a teacher, works with kids with behavior issues, help the classes get to learn about the story behind the Lord of the Rings. Also, do you have a Lilo and Stitch shirt? I don't have one of them yet. They're not even on any of the ones I have with groups either. Thank you, Sherry Morgan. Thank you, Mackenzie Drake. All the best to the teacher and her kids in the coming year and beyond. Thank you, Gots Mad Skittles. How big is your themed t-shirt wardrobe at this point? Probably 400, 500. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, anything I say is going to be it's just a random guess. I pick them up when I see them, and if they're inexpensive, and just eventually I'll use them. Something will come up. So thank you, Lisa Jenkins. Thank you, Plague Donor. Hey, Bo, just letting you know that I've caught myself writing instead of the whole word, and I'm sure it's your fault somehow. It probably is. Good. Helping make the world a little bit more civil. Thank you, Space Karen. Easiest country to get citizenship that's not a dictatorship. Is that what that said? Um, that's not a dictatorship. Asking for myself if Trump gets round two. I think that's becoming less and less likely. Um, I'm watching the media, just the conservative media, throw him under the bus. It's happening slowly but surely. I'm waiting for the day when Tucker finally realizes what's happening. But there have been, I think he's in real trouble. I think you need to start looking at DeSantis. Um, but easiest country to get a citizenship that's not. I want to say there's quite a few where if you have money, you can get one like immediately. Without having money to kind of push stuff through, I want to say that Ireland and Canada are easier. Um, Thank you, Lori Oho. Greetings from Finland. Thank you, not my name. Running a blue campaign in a rural red district. Piper from Missouri in state HD1 is also a teacher. I'll tell you what, I know nothing about Piper. Absolutely nothing. What I do know is that in the last 72 hours, I've heard that name like 11 times. So they have a very energized base, or there's a huge overlap, like a very unusual overlap between their supporters and people who talk to me. May need to reach out and see what's going on, see if they're interested in coming on. Thank you, R. Victoria. Hope this helps. I rarely catch a live stream, so figure I put in some cash. I was raised in a poor family, so I know how much it sucks to not have what you need for school. Also, thank you for your perspective and knowledge. You give the title Florida Man a good look. I try. Let's see. It feels like Dems don't have a great bench. Yeah, it's shallow. It's shallow. And that they're going to have to work on that. The problem that they're running into is that the establishment doesn't want the people who are willing to run, because the people who are young and aggressive and willing to run, they're more progressive than most of the establishment wants them to be. Let's see. Thank you, Skylar Green. Happy to help teachers. I may have missed you comment on this apparent third party of centrist under Yang. Do they have enough players behind them to pool at the state power structures, or is this for national attention? I haven't looked into them yet. Generally speaking, when it comes to third parties, until a state apparatus shows up in Florida, I don't pay them any attention at all. Florida is one of those states that you have to be active in, and if they're not putting anything here, then they're not going to make it on the national scene. So I haven't really looked into them. I'm aware that it's occurring, but I don't know enough about them to have an opinion yet, other than I'm familiar with some of the names, and not all of them give me warm, fuzzy feelings, but that may just be the ones that I noticed. Thank you, Marsupial Wolf 4242. Thank you, Mato Man. Thank you, Kevin C. Please tell me what I missed. What's this live for? So I know what I'm donating to. But with you, I don't need a reason. I know it's a good cause. We are helping Hayden, who has helped the miners that we have supported. She like did all the groundwork for all of that stuff. She's a teacher. I found out that she has a fundraiser for her class to get books and new tables and stuff like that. So without her knowing about it, we're doing this, and hopefully we're just going to end her fundraiser and take care of it. She spends a lot of time doing stuff for other people. Thank you, Drew Sensera. Thank you, Lynn Vicia. Thank you, GS Croft of the BS Buzzsaw. We need literacy everywhere we can cultivate it. Thank you. Thank you, Carol Marie Lilly. Thank you, Fred Skull. Why are Mansion and Company considered centrist? Is that what that question was? Hang on. If all they do is impede the efforts of their own party, are there any true centrist in Congress? If you're talking about official definitions, role definitions, most of the people who get called left are actually centrists. So there are, but it's one of those things where in the United States, we just use terms however we want to. I don't see Manchin in particular as a centrist. To me, he's a right-wing Democrat. So, I mean, I don't know if that actually helps. Cool Aunt 516, thank you. Thank you, Bowowski. Thank you, Brian Boo. KC, let's help teachers wherever we can. Thank you, Zion Kuriyama. Should we worry about Pelosi's trip to Taiwan and China's threats over it? I'm not worried about it. I do not believe that is going to spark armed conflict. That would have to get, that's one of those things that would have to go way, way sideways for it to go to the point where it hits all of the doom and gloom scenarios that people are talking about. Neither country wants to actually go to war with each other. Could it raise tensions? Sure. But part of me believes that this whole thing is kind of designed to test China and see where they're at after watching what happened to Russia. That's kind of what I think it is. I don't buy for a second this whole debate over whether or not she should go. I think it's kind of engineered. Where lays your level of optimism about the 2022 midterms? I'm not a pessimist about it. I don't know that I'm optimistic though either. I think that at this point, either scenario is possible. I think it's possible that the Democratic Party actually gains seats. But it's also possible that they lose. So with everything going on with the hearings, with everything developing there, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in polling until right before the elections. Let's see. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Carl Jacobson. Pass the word about you today. I hope it was good. Thank you, Manning Snyder. Thank you, Mary Daniels. As a retired teacher, my wealth is not in money. It is in the sustained love and achievements of my former students. He was real good peeps, but thank you. Thank you, Elf herself. Thank you, James Massey. I can't shake the feeling the climate deal is McConnell trap or a Manchin ante on a presidential run. Maybe. I don't think it'll work. I don't think that's enough of a buy-in, but I see the logic. I'm curious, and I'm very skeptical, and I'm being very cynical when it comes to that because I want it to pass. I want it to work too badly. So I'm kind of waiting and seeing what's going to develop. Thank you, Antoine. I started a 20-acre farm focused on providing food for whoever needs it and spreading native plants. I blame your bad influence. Good. Good. That's fantastic. Would you call yourself more of a moderate than a liberal? No. I mean, remember, I try very hard to be very fair and objective. I'm left. I'm left. um, so I'm anti-authoritarian left. So I'm definitely not a moderate. I try to be objective when I'm making videos. Let's see. Thank you, UEF-A3. Do you think Democrats will ever not try and sabotage progressive Prez candidates like how they done to Bernie? Yeah, eventually they're not going to have a choice. Part of it is the current establishment within the Democratic Party wanting to maintain that power. Eventually, they're not going to have the numbers. They won't have the numbers to be able to push back against the progressive ideas. Thank you, Bonnie Lassard. Thank you, Sean Boone. Your words are inspiring. If you were a fragrance, you'd be potpourri. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. Thank you, Ferguson. People say DeSantis is more dangerous than Trump. That probably says something. Wow. Gonna have to speed up. I see I'm following behind here. People say DeSantis is more dangerous than Trump, and he's supposedly very smart, even though he doesn't show it. What do you think? Yeah, I do. I think he is a lot smarter than he portrays himself to be in public. I don't think that he is as easily led astray as Trump. I don't think he's. I think he's a lot more polished. Would I say that he's more dangerous? Yes and no. Not overtly. I think that because he's a better leader, objectively, because he is smarter, because he's more polished, he can actually get some stuff done for that agenda that Trump wasn't able to. So yeah, he's definitely a concern. Thank you, Rabid Mouse 666. Thank you, Tommy P. Thanks, Bo, for all your efforts to make this rock we call home livable for our kids. You may have already addressed this, but do you have an opinion on Yank's third party? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I'll look into it, but generally speaking, when there's a possible race like the one that's going to be shaping up, I'm skeptical of new third parties. I'm going to have to dig into them before I say anything definitive one way or the other. Thank you, Amelia Kelly. Most likely it's the minors of minors. True. Thank you, Sally McLaughlin. It seems any politician can be bought, so it's hard to be optimistic. I'd like some of them to prove me wrong. Right? Thank you, Rusty Squid, from a former squid to help the miners. Thank you, Falsum. The very word centrism is propaganda. I agree. Thank you, Norman Fujioka. Norman Fujioka. Okay, Bo, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you, Meligen. Nope, I'm not going to make that one. On behalf of all of us internet people out here, your level-headed, well-articulated explanations of sometimes complex and always important topics are greatly appreciated. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you. Thank you, Jared Lockwood. Thank you, CB. Finally joined the Patreon. FYI, the Discord link doesn't work. It's funny. Punk Sci actually constantly tells me to put it in there, and I always forget to. And I even made posts last week, and I'll try to take care of that. Thank you, not found. Hey, Bo, happy to help. Can I get your thoughts tonight on Ukraine's future? Right. So they have hit the protracted conflict stage. They have hit the protracted conflict stage. At this point, it's a slugfest. You have active resistance behind the lines, and you have a Russian military that's kind of wearing down. But at the same time, they've stopped making mistakes, as many anyway. And they're starting to move their muscle. But I still think that without a mobilization, a real one, I don't think Russia's going to get far. And even though the West is still doing this piecemeal thing with weapon supplies, that's the main holdup for Ukraine. They're shipping the weapons that are needed in slowly, and they've been doing that since the beginning, and that's an issue. Let's see. Thank you, Dave Grant. Hope this helps. My wife is a teacher, and I don't know how she does it. Teachers are heroes. P.S. You're a great man. Inspire me to be better. But I know you get uncomfortable with compliments. So your beard is chaotic. Yes, it is. Thank you. Yeah, I could not be a teacher. I couldn't, not in a classroom. That seems really hard. Thank you, Ungato. Thank you, Jill Tate Higgins. Okay, CB, check the latest post in the Patreon mentioning the Discord for the link. That's so apparently the last one still works. Thank you, Blaine Tool. Your current bet on Beto versus Abbott. I think it's probably still Abbott. If I'm being honest, I think that it's Texas, and Abbott is the pro Second Amendment candidate. I think that's still going to matter a lot. I'd be happy to be wrong there, but we'll see. Thank you, Miss Robin. Thank you for all you do. You and Heather Cox Richardson keep me sane. If you're on Twitter, definitely worth following her. She's a historian. Thank you, Megan Roller. Thank you, Jared Hart. Finally able to catch a live stream for a few. Thanks for all you do and all the great info you share. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie Jaquinta, for the kids. That's right. Thank you. Thank you, Mal Bishop. John Stewart 2024. Couldn't be worse. Thank you, G. Smith. Thank you. Okay. What are your thoughts on Fetterman's campaign style against Oz? Trolling political opposition. I don't know. We're going to have to see how it works. It's interesting, and at least it's not the same old stuff that doesn't work. We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for talking me off the ledge at least twice a day. P.S. Are we related? We may or may not have a physical resemblance. I don't know. Vote no in Kansas on August 2nd. I have no idea what that's about in Kansas. Thank you, Bree Reed. Thank you, Icy Saracen. Let's see here. Let's see, my favorite right-wing American YouTuber said the West in general is becoming more authoritarian. and we should leave for the third world. Do you share his opinion? No, I don't. Um, the idea of, the grass is always greener and all of that. There's a lot of people that want right now are thinking about moving to countries that are what people call the third world, and this is one of those foreign policy things that drives me nuts. Third world just means non-aligned. Yes, generally speaking, it is the one. They are the countries that people mean when they say that, but um, there's a lot of people talking about moving to developing nations right now. The thing is, if you're looking and you're thinking long term, um, these are countries that are going to be hit really hard by climate change, and you'll probably be moving again soon. I think it would be more beneficial to start getting ready for the migration of people from there to here. Um, thank you, Joy Pedahag. Pedahag. Let's see. Thank you, Jonathan Suho. Best recollections of Odyssey, Lord of the Flies, or how your teachers taught them. My high school did this with a Simpsons episode and a video project. Lord of the Flies wasn't taught anywhere outside of the drama class. And then the Odyssey actually got that in a history class. Yeah. Looking back, some of my schools were unique, I guess. Thank you, Christina Rose. Thank you, Bo. Have you seen Vosh's latest door knock efforts? I have not. I don't know. Thank you, Dina Boyd. Thank you, Midnight Man. Thank you, Free Girl. Thank you, The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. 14 years in an international community near SEA, focused on local collectivism. Thank you. If you go too far right or left, you end up in the same place. A shack in the woods hoarding food. I mean, that's not wrong. I mean, it's really not. Let's see. Thank you, Easy. I'm a science teacher with vaccine and immunology research. The last couple of years have been so hard, but you've helped me keep going and not lose all hope. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Arashi75M. Thank you, Cassandra Espinoza. Thank you, Roxy2. Thank you, Jade Dunstan. Thanks for this and everything else. On topic of you being a bad influence, I've started work on launching my own leftist channel. Describe it as doing what Bo does for white suburban moms. Yeah, that's needed. Just saying. Thank you. Thank you, David Reyna. Thank you, Verna Rochelle. As long as politicians can be bought, those of us who can't afford our own, we're in a bad way. But we still have the ability to organize, and that's what we have to focus on. Is we have to focus on our assets, not our liabilities. Thank you, Nicholas Cullen. Hope this helps. Advice, please. There's a person who comments a lot on posts I make, and he's always trying to sound smarter and lefter than anyone else. And it feels like it's for his ego rather than really furthering discussion. What would you do? I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you have to interact? It's one of those things that it's important to remember that not everything deserves a response all the time. I mean, there are a lot of times when you can make a point and somebody can make a differing point, a counterpoint. You don't actually have to respond to it. I mean, Someone who's trying to sound smarter and lefter. Yeah. I mean, if the information isn't harmful, like if it's not something that you feel ethically obligated to counter, I mean, let them sound smarter and lefter. I don't know. Uh, thank you, Kill You Star. Thank you, Not My Name. Oh, okay. Yeah, vote no on Kansas. That's let's see. Kevin C, thank you. Thank you for bringing me up to speed on the fundraiser. Love what you're doing. You're a beacon of hope. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Kill You Star One. Thank you, Autistic Wolf. $2 to say hello. It's Bo again. Thank you, Norman Fujioka. Is it true the reason Republicans walked back on aid to U.S. vets who are suffering toxic poisoning is Dems wanted to add an attachment to the bill? That seems unlikely. And honestly, here's the thing. Let's say it's true. What possible attachment would be to it? What possible attachment could there be that would make you say, no, these people don't deserve help? I don't buy that for a second. So thank you, Joe Shalom. If you haven't liked yet, you're nothing but a what? I don't even know what that is. I don't know the connotation of that, and it's scary. Okay. Thank you, Shelly Adams. I'm pretty sure that Joe Jaloom was encouraging everybody to like the stream and handling my my PR because I'm horrible at it. Let's see. What are the issues you see coming from climate change in our lifetime? 37. Increased fire, hurricane, flooding, lots of migration, because it's going to be bad here. It's going to be worse other places. You're probably going to have a lot of cities in the Southwest start to decline in population due to a lack of resources, brownouts, lack of water, stuff like that. There are quite a few things that we are over the tipping point on, where these are things that are going to happen and everything's set in motion. The best we can do is mitigate on a whole lot of this now. So, and with warming temperatures, you also get more of a range of insects, which means there's going to be basically new diseases moving into the United States. You're going to have we're going to have to shift our agricultural functions a lot. It's huge. Like, it is without a doubt the largest issue that the world is facing, and everybody's looking the other way. So, thank you, Mickey Johnson. Any thoughts on the economic bloc of Russia, China, India, South Africa, and Brazil? Do you think it will be a successful threat to the United States and Europe? It could be a counterweight. I don't think that it would be an actual threat in the sense of like undermining the NATO European economic bloc, but it could be a counterweight in many ways that's better for people who are in the literal third world that are not aligned. Because under many frames, countries that aren't aligned just kind of get exploited. If there is another strong economic bloc, it generally means that they'll be a little better off. Thank you, Dorky Hippie 81. Thank you, Ron Floyd. Thank you, Ferguson. R.E. Abbott versus B-Day. Robert Evans said it best. Assume Texas will always disappoint you and you'll never be wrong. Also, what's your shepherd's pie recipe? I actually have a video on that where I describe it somewhere. I think I'm using it as an analogy for something, but I do talk about it. The secret is stuffing, using stuffing on the top to kind of seal everything in and keep it moist. I should do a cookbook. Thank you, Ian Culliday, for a little piece of sanity before the hecticness of the school year starts. Thank you for your efforts and opportunities to highlight others. Thank you. Let's see. Do you think there will be a U.S. president one day that will owe up to the mistakes of U.S. foreign policy in Vietnam, the illegal invasion of Iraq, Pakistan? Man. Out of the ones listed, I mean, one day, sure. Anytime soon, meaning anytime in the next 20 years? Nah. Maybe Vietnam. That might reach. That might happen. Let's see. Thank you, Kairu and Mina. The summer has been really rough in my city in terms of violence, and I fear for my students. Your videos help me put what I do in context. Thank you. Let's see. I see Saracen again. Do you also think this is the end of American exceptionalism? Do I think that Americans are going to believe that America is not inherently the good guy? Not anytime soon. No. Let's see. Thank you, Noli D. What do you think about filing or demonstrate against the supremacist court's recent decisions? That sounds like a question for legal. I think that the best hope there is, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, is that the state level ballot box. I think they're going to be able to hold that for a while. That decision will be held. So it's going to be important to win at the state level so the bans can be overturned. Because most of this is going to be pushing back decisions to the states. I think it's really important I think that's where the focus needs to be. I don't think that there's going to be a legal remedy to this. I don't think it's going to be done in the courts. Thank you, Chancellor Leavitt. Thank you, Belladonna. Thanks for tempering my urge to want to either give up or burn it all down. You help keep me centered. Yeah, I have those moments too. Believe me. But let's see. Jason Slater, settle a bet. Is there hair under that hat? There might be some right now, but it's normally bicked. It is normally shaved, skin bald. I think the real question there is do I have male pattern baldness? If that's the question, yeah. Let's see. Aim Williamson. Can we all give a shout out to Jon Stewart for standing up for regular people? We just need someone fighting for Medicare for all and climate change. Thank you, Cheryl Mankin. Scott G, what is fifth column and why is it part of your name? Okay, so there was a story a long time ago. A general is approaching a city, and he tells the people inside the city, "Hey, I've got columns coming from the north, south, east, and west. I also have a fifth column inside the city ready to open the gates." Years ago, a bunch of journalists, myself included, were tired of metaphorical gatekeeping in journalism. The fifth column there to open the gates. And with me, it stuck. So it's now there. Thank you, Snakebite One. Thank you, Brady Hillsop. Recently bought a small tractor and started gardening my yard and 2 neighbors. I also blame your bad influence. Great. Maybe some of y'all can teach me how to grow tomatoes. I'm about to, so the community garden project. Yeah, we're going to rip out the tomatoes. I think I'm going to put in strawberries, just so you know. That's happening. Uh, Thank you, Andrew Skipsey. Hey, the greetings from Canada's left coast, where we're under a heat warning for temperatures up to 40 degrees centigrade. So just wanted to shout out to people organizing and Courage Coalition to bring the NDP back to the left. Thank you, Dr. David J. Johnson. Donating this aspect as well. Thank you. Let's see, American exceptionalism will outlive America. It's punk sci, and yeah, that's probably true. Thank you, Bose Einstein 7. Climate change is false, then why pollution is okay? What? Okay. Thank you, Alice Stefan. My partner and I watch you religiously. Thank you for everything you've taught us and keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you, Treva Joan. How to free a mind trapped by fear mongers. Get rid of the fear. Get rid of the fear. Normally, that's just education. People fear things they don't understand. Thank you, Owen Gray. Have you seen Tom Hartman's thread about state legislatures passing laws to allow them to ignore the popular votes? Yes. Yeah, that's a huge that's a huge issue. I've got videos on it, specifically talking about how they're going after the Secretary of State office in a lot of states. So the idea, the Republican Party has a lot of moves right now that are designed to actually give states the ability to disregard your vote and just choose whoever they want. Let's see. Thank you, Icy Sirs. If a second U.S. Civil War broke out between pro-Democrats and New Dixie, between red and blue voters, what would your survival strategy be? That's not a thing. Like that's not something that would happen. Like people who, if a civil war in the United States happened, it would balkanize completely. I don't think that people have a clear understanding of what that would really be like. They have a TV show of like lines and maps and stuff like that. That's not what it's like, and that's not what it wouldn't. It would not be like that. It would just be all bad. Thank you, Ryan C. Now that the war has gone on for a while, do you think the Ghost of Kiev was real, or was it all propaganda? All wartime propaganda is true, especially the lies. Thank you, Elizabeth Lonergan. First time watching the live stream live. Thank you, Mal Bishop. Any thoughts about Christian nationalism from political figures? I think that's going to be short-lived. Thank you, Karen Mann, aka One Man's Hands Crafts. I'll trade you tomatoes for some strawberries. We have them coming out of our ears up here. My mom has a magic green thumb with her garden. She says full sun and lots of water works great up here. That's all we have down here. I don't know what I do. I kill them every time. Like tomato plants do not survive. Thank you, Kevin C. Let's all help Bo do the right thing to help this person. They obviously deserve to be supported. Let's make their GoFundMe a helpful secondary. Thank you, Rick Travelstead. Thank you, Noli D. Have you seen all the Nazi symbolism being used by people in Ukraine? Do you know what that means? Are they confused? Or Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that people. So there's a lot of things that get thrown out, and they're like, "Oh, this is a symbol of this." No, it's not. It's a symbol used by pretty much everybody, every military on the planet. Sometimes there are bad symbols. Those are mostly associated with a couple of specific groups, most of which are no longer with us. They didn't fare well. Uh, there's a lot of confusion when it comes to symbols that were used by the German military circa World War II, and conflating that with something that is necessarily something that has to do with that system of government. One in particular is a cross that gets used. Look at the U.S. military shooting badges. These symbols are used all over the world. A lot of them are. But then again, there are some that are actually related to that, but most of those groups have not made it. They haven't done well in combat. Thank you, Free Girl. Thoughts on the chances of Utah's independent Senate candidate? I don't know. I haven't looked into that enough to have any opinion whatsoever. Let's see. What makes you more liberal? Family raised New Orleans, Louisiana, conservative, but I can't find points. What makes me travel? I do not like the status quo. It's that simple. Let's see. Thank you, Cryptics. Hi from Australia. I'm a dual national US citizen who lives down under. Listen to your videos every morning. First thing on my way to work. Thoughts on China invading Taiwan sometime in the next decade? I mean, is it possible? Yeah. I think a lot of that flashpoint is really going to be resolved by what happens with Russia and Ukraine. How well the West is able to counter it. Because right now, China's taking notes. Is it really worth the trouble? And they're going to have to do the math. Thank you, Not Got Us. When politicians say states' rights, 10th Amendment, why do they forget the last words, or to the people? Yeah, always direct them back to the 9th Amendment as well. Thank you, Buzz Einstein. Climate change is not accepted among right-wingers. Even pollution is not accepted among GOP people, which kills 7 million. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you said that, because I totally did not get the satire in the last comment. You got me. I was like, what? That doesn't sound like him. Thank you, Karen Man, aka One Man's Handcrafts. It's Michigan. Full sun for tomatoes is relative. Yeah. Thank you, Rocky. Thanks for the hard work you do around here educating that. Thank you. Okay, so we have caught up. Looks like we've gotten through everybody. I'm pretty sure that we have met our goal tonight, and we have her fundraiser taken care of. And we've been on for a little more than an hour. So we're going to wrap it up. And tomorrow we will be back to our regularly scheduled 3 videos a day. So I truly appreciate y'all coming in and hanging out and contributing here. And I can't wait to let her know that this happened. So anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.